So let me get started just by telling you guys a little bit about myself, about who I am. There's some videos out there about me, but they were done years ago. So much has happened since then. Um, so we'll just start with my awakening, a little bit about why I teach the law of one and why I know it so well. I guess you can say. I had an awakening in 2018, and my awakening was abrupt and traumatic, I would say. Before my awakening, I was just a regular girl. I was atheist. Like I wasn't spiritual. I didn't meditate. I didn't follow any of the occults. I didn't really do anything. I was just normal person going through life. And then in 2017, I went through a divorce. My ex-husband had narcissistic tendencies, and I had to go through healing. And it's during that healing I think might have triggered my awakening, or it might have been just, predetermined. It could have been just, it was time for my awakening. So I went through a spontaneous Kundalini awakening. And I didn't know what that was. I've never been spiritual, so I had no idea what was happening to me. When you have a Kundalini awakening, it comes with symptoms in your body. It comes with, psychic abilities. It's very scary, actually. When I started seeing entities, coming around scaring the shit out of me, or I just I would be having, talks with like my sister or someone, and I'd be talking about things that hadn't happened yet. And then when they did happen, everyone's so confused. I'm like, no, this was the news a few days ago, things like that would happen. So I'm confused. My body started overheating horribly, and I didn't know what was wrong. I had to spend 8 months under rotating different frozen water bottles and holding them on me because my chakra system was just on fire, things like that. So I deep dove heavily into finding out what was happening to me. I tried to make it stop, and after a while, many months, it does settle down. And you start discovering things and learning things and trying to figure out why you know things. And for being I would say a novice, someone who's never been spiritual her whole life, I had to start from ground zero. It felt like I had to start from nothing. So, and that's what I did. I started learning. And when I just kind of going through life and experimenting with my new abilities, that does, thank God, calm down. God, if I had to live life as if I was still in Kundalini, you can't live. You just can't live. This world's not really meant to be functioning with that happening to you, with everything just on fire like that, because everything else is normal, but you're not. So how do you function? And people, I guess, I think maybe born with abilities or something like that, they can do it. I was going out of body and I couldn't figure it out. I was getting lost out of body. I was, and I couldn't control it. And it scared you. It scares you. It scares you when you're out of body and you don't know what to do and you can't find your body that's, was in your bed, and you're trying to make your way through things. And, it's not like you can pull out your phone and just go, oh, this way. No, you're completely at a loss out there. So this is what I was going through during my awakening, in 2018. And so, I was sort of learning things and kind of trying to find answers for things. And I discovered Dolores Cannon. I went through some of her stuff, and then I found the Law of One. And when I read the Law of One, it freaked me out because it's as if I had written the books myself. I knew all the answers. I knew what was going to be written on each page. And you keep slamming the book closed, and you're like, okay. And this was just, I was in a world where, everything was crazy for me. Nothing made sense. And I'd be alone in my house trying to stay away from the world, trying to figure things out. And, but I really just fell in love with the Law of One. And so I started putting YouTube videos out on it. I started talking about my awakening a little bit. I had put out a video, I think the video on my YouTube channel was a little bit about my awakening. And so as I was putting stuff on YouTube, I guess they call it the dark night of the soul, where the person you've been your whole life is no more, is gone, but you don't know who you're supposed to be for the rest of your life. So what do? You go through a dark night. It's called the dark night because I really didn't know who I was supposed to be. I knew I was changed. I knew I wasn't crazy because I started, seeing a lot of people online that were going through what I was going through, these awakenings and going out of body and just having all this stuff happen to you and spirits coming around and you don't know what to do. And so I had actually started sinking into the dark night and I stopped everything. I'm like, I don't know who the hell I think I am. I just I want everything to stop and I'm going to go. I went kind of dark. Like I didn't go online very much. I didn't post things. I didn't travel. Well, COVID happened, so that didn't help. So, but you have this nagging, almost this uncontrollable nagging within you to move forward, to do things. And so, I knew about channeling, obviously, from the Law of One, that's channeling works. And, I wanted answers. I had no one around me that I could talk to. I had no one around me that can give me advice. I was just this island of a person that was going through this. And, I can try to watch people online and videos, but I had no one like personally in my life. Well, my mom, a little bit. My mom, when I told my, I told my mom, like, I'm going out of body sometimes. Like one time I got stuck in like a neighbor's attic. I fell in there and I didn't know how to get out. And then my mom told me, she goes, "Oh, I fly around my neighborhood in her house." I'm like, what? Shit. Well, at least I'm not crazy. Other people do this. And so anyway, and she talks about the visions and the things that she can see with her, whether her eyes are open or closed. I'm like, oh yeah, like just the day before yesterday, I'm lying in bed and usually I don't know, it's meant to be interpreted just like your dreams are when you have these visions. For some reason, yesterday in bed, I'm like thinking about turning the coffee pot on and starting my day. And this kind of like a little crocodile starts moving across, and then a fish comes up and swims to me in my face and then swims away. And I'm just like, what is that supposed to mean? Like, I'm still learning, I guess, on how to do stuff. So anyway, I was, I have a squirrel. This is what I use with my students. Whenever I bring out the squirrel, you're off topic and you're going off on other things and get back to your story or your lesson. So, okay. So go back to when I'm trying to figure out who I am and I want answers. And so I found this guy in northern India. He was a young guy. I think he was only 25 at the time. And he was putting out things of him channeling. And he was able to channel the way Carla, that's in the books, channels, where she is completely out of body. Someone has taken over her body and playing her vocal cords like an instrument. It was that type of channeling that he did. Because when he would talk to you, he's in Hindi, right? Like if you ever had to get on the phone for customer service and had to deal with someone who's Hindi, who has English as a second language, you're going to understand, like it's broken. It's hard. It's like, is that English? Say that again. You always have to get them to like repeat themselves. So that's how he talked. But when he channeled, it was perfect English with huge vocabulary. And he would actually have a different dialect depending on who he was channeling. And I'm like, oh, this is the real McCoy, this guy is truly channeling. So I got a hold of the guy and I'm like, look, listen, I'm going through some really serious stuff here. And I need someone to channel my higher self, find out who I am and what the hell I should be doing. Because I was at a loss, and I really just wanted answers. But all I did is in the email is I think I just sent him the money. I found out who he was. I'm like, oh, he's got a PayPal account. Here's $100. Yeah. And he calls me back and he's like, what is this for? I'm like, can you channel my higher self? My name is, Pamela, and this is my birthday. That's all I said in the email. Nothing else. I sent him money, my name and my birthday. And so he did a full like channeling session for me. And it was like a recording of him lying down. And, I started watching it. And at this point, I'm still studying and learning. I'm learning about, I had discovered Penny Kelly, who's one of my great mentors. So I'm starting to learn about different races, alien races out there. I look at Teal Swan, I look at, other people. And so when I sat down to listen to my channeling session for my higher self, I was like, okay, just open mind. Don't put any aspect on it. Like, I was trying to really just accept whatever was given. And so at first, when he said my name, he said my name, like my real name is not Mace, right? But my actually last name is French, and he said it perfectly in a channel. Like, a guy in Hindi in northern India said my name perfectly. So I'm like, like, people here can't say my real name properly. So he was, and then when he started getting into the channeling, and he called me Venusian, because I sat down going, oh, I'm sure I'm Palladian. There's so many Palladian starseeds here and wanderers here, and or I'm like, maybe I'm Arcturian. So I was waiting to see what he was going to tell me about who I was. And then when he said Venusian, I'm like, wait, what is that? Actually, because, like, remember, this is at the very beginning of my awakening. So I heard Venusian. I'm like, pause. What's a Venusian? It's like someone from Venus. I'm like, oh, that's just right next door. No, it's not exciting. Okay, continuing. And started talking about my past lives on Venus and the evolution that I took with a different, being a water element, and then being, second density, third, and then graduating to fourth, and then moving on to, and then eventually talking about how I had joined the Raw Collective. And when he said that, I'm like, well, to me, it made sense, because here I am with the books, and it's as if I wrote them, but like, this guy in India doesn't know that, he doesn't. So, and it was just like, obviously, with the Raw Collective as a wanderer. So it was that. And then he started talking about some of my past lives as a wanderer. And one of them was on Maldek. When Maldek was at the end of its third density, just like, we here on Earth, or at the end of our third density, moving into fourth, I was a wanderer on Maldek during that time. And it was unsuccessful. The planet did not survive. And it was a loss, a huge loss for our solar system. And so that was one of my past lives. Another past life is, so how, if any of you are familiar with the Law of One, Ra came here. Ra came here to build the pyramids. Now, I didn't come here in thought form during that time to help build the pyramids, but what I did do is come in as a wanderer during that time to help teach the Law of One, because that's what I was doing on Maldek, teaching the Law of One. And that's what I'm doing here now, is what he says. I'm here to teach the Law of One. I'm like, and so it was informative. I guess it just, getting that channeling session done helped me, cement the fact that what I've been going through I wasn't insane, and that, it kind of just allowed me to, move forward with what I was doing. But that doesn't matter. I still didn't do it. Like, even if that's why it's not important to find out your purpose here on Earth, because it won't matter. Like, I was handed it to me on a platter, and still I was like, nope, going back to normal, not doing this. I'm just a girl who's gardening and running businesses and going to the gym, and I'm not, And so I suppressed it for a long time. And I think it may be because maybe I wasn't finished going through the dark night, like doing healing. Like, everyone has, like, people ask me, I talk to people who've had an awakening. I also talk to people that want to have an awakening. They're like, okay, what do I do? I'm like, I have no idea. I have no idea what you need to do. But the most people that I have talked to that have gone through what I've gone through, they usually go through some sort of, like, trauma, right? Hang on, hold that thought. We're having a squirrel moment, because I need to text my sister. Hang on, really quick. Okay, so hang on. I should have done this before I started. Okay. So most people have to go through trauma. the majority of the people that I've talked to that have gone through an awakening like mine have been through trauma. Um, whether it's the death in the family, the loss of a child, some sort of like traumatic experience, like a car accident or your career's over or something. I think mine was like, it wasn't just, I think mine started with my divorce, being married to someone who had narcissistic tendencies and being devalued. And the fact that he left me for someone who did OnlyFans, like someone who was doing porn and then doing OnlyFans. I was like, it was like traumatic. Like I was embarrassed. Oh God, I had to like heal from that. And it was like, so it was kind of a process to heal from that. And I tell you this because everyone else I've talked to has had to kind of deal with the same thing, some sort of trauma, something they had to deal with and heal from. And then, they get caught in an awakening. If it's that traumatic, like dark night of the soul is not something you want to go through. The reason it's called dark for a reason. But when you come out of it, you almost have this unsensationable need to kind of do what you were here to do. And that's what Dark Night of the Soul is kind of figuring out. For me, it's going to be teaching the law of one. And so after me suppressing and stopping and refusing, eventually, I guess, just like everyone else, you come around and you start doing it. Hang on. Okay. So I built the website. I started teaching. I deep dive into sessions. I have a group of students. So that's what I'm doing here now.